The great Betnijah Laney is here to talk New York Liberty basketball. Locked on Women's Basketball starts now.
Ogunbowale for the win.
You are Locked On Women's Basketball, your daily podcast on women's basketball.
Well, hi, everyone, and welcome to Locked On Women's Basketball. I'm your host, Howard Megdal, thanking you for making us your first listen every day, 6 days a week. Locked On Women's Basketball comes to you talking about the past, present, and future of this great game. And it is not just me, it is our incredible staff over at thenexthoops.com. Over at the Next, we have over 100 reported pieces. Every single month, we have a beat reporter in each of the 12 WNBA cities, making sure that we are giving you 24/7, 365 women's basketball coverage. Go ahead and subscribe, $9 a month, $72 a year. And somebody who we have covered, we've covered you for a long time in a lot of different contexts. And now here in New York, about to take the 2023 season by storm, Betnijah Laney, delightful to talk to you. And place I just want to start is during an offseason that's had so many highlights, whether it's off the court, what's being done by the franchise, or your time at USA Basketball. What's the number one when you think you'll look back at it as like the best moment for you during this offseason?
For me, during the off season, like basketball, basketball, I think all the players that we added. I'm really excited for this 2023 season, with the pieces that we've added to, complement, what we've been doing in New York. I'm really excited for it. I think it definitely, puts us up as championship contenders.
I mean, it's really interesting. And again, I want to get into the way in which you fit. And as you know, and the listeners at home know who have followed, your fit everywhere you've played, it's varied. You have found the way, and comes down to like what is most necessary for your team to win, whether it's playing the four for Coach Stringer, whether it's playing even as a primary ball handler and distributor. And we'll get into that a little bit too. But when you kind of envision this in your initial conversations with Sandy about it, and a roster that I'm not even going to insult the intelligence of the people at home. You know who they added, New York, this offseason. You know Brianna Stewart's here. You know JJ is here. You know Courtney Vandersloot is here now. What do you think are kind of the biggest parts of your game that are emphasized and accentuated by the new talent on this roster?
I think just that I'm capable of doing, a little bit of everything and pretty much whatever it is that the team needs. And so, whether that's me being on defense, whether that's me creating on offense, whether that's me, being able to just hit a simple catch and shoot. Yeah. I think that, me just doing the little things, me continuing to just be who I am, we'll just all fit right in.
What's interesting to me when you think about and you being healthier and being in a position to even build on last year is the things we saw, the tantalizing things we saw in the numbers last year. And so if you'll forgive my deep dive, you from 0 to 3 feet, right at the rim, had your highest field goal percentage of your career last year and the greatest percentage of your shots coming at the rim last year. Now that's without the type of floor stretching you get out of a Brianna Stewart, out of a JJ, out of a Sloot. Does this feel to you like an opportunity both to be able to build on what that was and also as something that will make those teammates even more open?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, we all complement each other. We all have great skill sets. And so it'll just end up making the game that much easier for us. We don't have to take force or create, our own shots. A lot of the times we'll be able to, play off of each other. Like you said, being able to stretch the floor, that just opens up the lane a bit. Or, if they're inside, you might want to double or, there's not as much attention on just, 1, 2, or 3 players. You have to play all 5. And so I'm really excited for, what everybody brings. I think that will complement each other really well, as well as the people, who will be coming off the bench. I think everybody's just been able to really add to their game this offseason, and it'll be really good for us.
I know you are a builder, and I know it means a lot to you that you have been part of building this culture, building this team to get to where you guys are now on the cusp of some really huge opportunities. I guess I wonder whether you've had the chance during this offseason to kind of reflect on it. Because, to me, from the outside, I'm seeing, there were periods of time where you had to shoulder a lot, if not everything, in this team. And you rose to the challenge and you've become an all-star. But I wonder how that feels, whether you've been able to take a breath and sort of reflect on the journey to this point.
I mean, absolutely. I've come a long way. I've went to, probably being the 11th, 12th player to being, the 1-2 player. And so for me, I've just always tried to build, to add, to get better, each and every year. But I think a lot of that, even though it may look like I was doing a lot or I was, doing all of this, I can attribute a lot of that to my coaches, believing in me. I can attribute that to my teammates finding me, helping me, just be the best me that I can be, whether it was, through support or creating for me or just, just helping me be my best.
So this is a point I've made elsewhere, and I'm curious, instead of me saying it, I'm curious what you think about it, which is to say that you have played all those different roles. And when you think about your ability to be a leader on this team, how how able are you then to know what player 11 needs to hear in the same way that player 1, 2, and 3, what they need to hear as a leader on this team?
I mean, I think just the experience, like I said, I've been there, so I know what it feels like. I know what's going through your head in different moments. And so to just kind of know that I'm able to, talk to people and kind of know what they're going through and help them with that process and help them just be the best that they can be.
What do you consider yourself now positionally? And again, I alluded to it at the top, right? This is something where I mean, have you played the five? I know you've played
I'm sure at some
one
point
through
in
four,
my
right?
career, I don't, not necessarily professionally, but at some point I've probably played the five. But I think, sometimes in those moments, it wasn't always ideal, whether it's, playing the four or not. But I think it made me more versatile. It's expanded my game, and it just allows for me to just give my team more.
Yeah.
I'm not limited in certain areas. That like you can look to me to kind of, fill in and give you whatever it is that you need.
I do. I talk about it regularly when you think about the arc of your career, and that's my profession, is I have to think of it that narrative arc. But playing the four for Coach Stringer, right? That seems to me like such a critical, defining moment in your career. And so, kind of two parts for that. Number one, how much do you think that is built in the versatility you've carried into your pro career? And I just more generally, I guess, I wonder how significant you feel it is to be carrying on the work of Coach Stringer when it comes to not just being a player, but being a voice in women's basketball now.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, at the time, it could, there were times where it was frustrating because, coming out of high school, I was one of the top guards in the country. And then I go to college and now I'm, playing a totally different position. And then, as I'm preparing to be a professional, knowing that that won't be my primary position if I want to be, my best
Mhm.
as a professional. So now trying to transition back to the guard. But I will say that it did help me in the long run. I had to do a lot of things on my own in terms of like just trying to stay ready or trying to be prepared and be comfortable in the transition of roles. But ultimately, it definitely helped me because even though that's not my primary position, you can throw me at the four now and, dependent, like not really lose too much. And
Mhm.
you can use it to your advantage.
Mhm.
And so with that, just being under Coach Stringer, I've learned a lot. And it wasn't we didn't always see eye to eye, but I really appreciate, the trials and tribulations, the growth, the rewards, everything that I endured with her, under her. It just helped me be so much better now. It's the little things, the details, and those are things that I focus on to this day, just those little things that she told me or that she taught me. And as well as, just being able to be versatile, because now I can use that situation to my advantage in certain situations. And so I'm just, grateful for the experience, and happy that it helped get me to where I am now.
Locked On Women's Basketball is brought to you by Ultimate Pro Basketball GM. Ultimate Pro Basketball GM gives you the opportunity to manage your own basketball franchise. Just go and download Ultimate Pro Basketball GM right now. The game allows you to manage every strategic aspect of a franchise, playing through seasons and leading your franchise and fans to glory as you build a dynasty. In this simulation, you're responsible for dealing with challenging personalities, hiring the right coaches and assistants, trading and training players, even making draft picks. All this in a challenging and realistic game world. Ultimate Pro Basketball GM is completely free and playable offline, play on the go as you want and when you want to. Locked On Women's Basketball listeners get a 100% free boost to the franchise when using the promo Locked On in the game store. So make sure to check it out. To download the game, just visit probasketballgm.com, scan the code, or look it up in the app stores. That's probasketballgm.com. Ultimate Basketball GM. Start your dynasty today. Locked On Women's Basketball is brought to you by Ibotta. Groceries, school shopping, and getting a little something for yourself? You're already doing it, so why not get cash back for it with Ibotta? You can earn cash back on every shopping trip. Ibotta gives you cash back on hundreds of grocery items, from produce to personal care to pantry goods. Either link your loyalty account or upload your receipt after you shop and get your cash back. It's that easy. You can earn cash back on hundreds of online brands and retailers too when you start with Ibotta, including Lowe's, Macy's, Sephora, Best Buy, and more. Right now, Ibotta is offering our listeners $5 just for trying Ibotta for using the code LOCKED when you register. Just go to the App Store or Google Play Store and download the free Ibotta app and use code LOCKED, LOCKED. That's IBOTTA in the Google Play or App Store. Use the code LOCKED. I would imagine having a post player in your immediate family made a difference too when you were trying to make that transition. With and our audience, I assume, will know, but Yolanda Laney, of course, your mom, just one of the greats.
Well, she was a point guard, so that was a little different.
So that's so interesting. Tell me more about that. How tall was she?
She's maybe an inch or two shorter than me.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But
so she's about 5'10".
This is great. So I'm learning in real time. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
And
so she was a point guard. So in high school, I never really wanted to be a point guard.
Mm-hmm.
But that was her position. But she always wanted to make sure that I could handle the ball and everything. But
Right.
she did teach me being a bigger guard, different post moves and everything. So she was a point guard that could post if she needed to take advantage of situation, which I do, to this day. If I have a smaller guard on me, I'll just take him to the block. But so she was a point guard.
Oh, that's fascinating, and that's great. I love when I learn things along the way too. So really like a Katie Smith type of player is what it's.
Yes.
Very interesting. Well, so let's talk about that and about your ball handling skills here, because it's important that people keep this in mind. My favorite stat from your All-Star season was the fact that you had an assist percentage of 30.4%, which, to me, again, you were tasked with running that offense and doing it, at a time that you were also being asked to be a primary scorer. So when you think back to that moment, how much do you think that distributing helps you as one of the weapons here in 2023 with a team where obviously they're scoring all over the court now?
I think it just, me having that role then, it makes it easier now, because now I have players around me that I can, distribute to and stuff, and be able to also score.
Yeah.
So me being in that role, it just kind of makes it easier transition now.
And then the other part of that obviously is going to USA Basketball. It's, I don't mean to overstate it, but this, the talent up and down this Liberty roster is not directly comparable to a lot of other previous WNBA teams. And to me, a greater comparison might be USAB. And so I wonder how much you feel like when you were in that camp, you were starting to get a sense of, what life is going to be like day to day in practice here with the New York Liberty.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, USAB is it's always fun. Like it's great to be surrounded and play with and compete with and against the best of the best.
Mm-hmm.
And so to be able to now bring that here, it just it's a really great feeling because we want to compete, we want to win, we want to be able to play together, and that's what USAB is all about. It's all about being in unity, having fun, and working hard.
A thing that I really enjoyed back when we talked to you during minicamp was, somebody brought up the concept of super team and you didn't shy away from it. And, I just wonder how much you think it's important, how much it's necessary even to make sure that everyone's on the same page going in and that the expectations are as high internally as, clearly they are externally.
I think one of the important things is to that's good what everyone thinks and has these expectations, but it's about us. We're the ones in this going through it together and have to rely on each other. When we're out there on the court, it's just us. And so for us to be able to come together and understand that we have one common goal, that we want to, be our best for each other, for this team, that goes a long way, and that'll help us exceed those super team expectations.
Right.
If we focus on us and what we're doing as opposed to that, it's the little things. It's helping your teammate, giving more than you're taking, and just trying to be the best that we can be for each other.
So I talked to a lot of your teammates for a story that's going to come out soon, as well, about everything that happened this winter. And it seems like there was sort of an excitement that came as these moves were happening. And I wonder for you, take me through, where were you when you first heard about JJ coming? Where were you when you first heard about Stewie coming? What were those experiences like this past off season?
So I was in Japan for all of them. So I kind of got the news a little, some of it a little later because
Right.
you had to catch me when you could catch me because of the time difference. But when I heard, I was just really excited because when you're competing, you want to compete with the best, and we've added two, former MVP players. We've added, two championship players. So to be able to bring that here, that's my ultimate goal is to win a championship. Mm-hmm. And I know they know what that looks like. I know they know what that takes. And so, I want to compete with them. I love that they're here, that we're, getting started, and that it's almost go time.
Do you think there is an understanding beyond the top level acquisitions of just how much depth of talent there is here? Because, and you made this important point up top, talking about, we've been building and
Mm-hmm.
You and I have talked about this as the building has been happening, which is to say that this is a team that features, you've got Hanshu coming off the bench, a 6'10" player who shot 44% from three last year. Steph Dolson was an all-star. Maureen Johannes is an incredible playmaker who hits more than 40% of her threes. There's not there's not an absence of talent beyond the top end. Do you think that is overlooked? Do you think that's something that people don't fully understand at this point, I guess?
No, I wouldn't necessarily. I mean, I also don't really know what people are saying, but I don't think that people don't understand that, because I think that they were all really great for us last year,
Mm-hmm.
As, sometimes starting, sometimes not, but to have that and not have a drop off, it just makes it so much easier. And, they will still be who they are. They will still be great players regardless of anything.
Taylor Thornton's going to make a big defensive stop in a critical moment, and people are going to realize who she is too. And
exactly.
Long overdue. So, just for you, as somebody who's been through every part of this, to be cut by Indiana, to go through and prove yourself in Atlanta and get that opportunity. do you allow yourself to appreciate how far you've come? Is that something that, obviously you're always pushing to get better. Obviously you're always pushing for what's next. But I just wonder whether you do take that time for yourself to be able to appreciate that journey to date.
I mean, yeah, usually after the season, I'm able to kind of just like sit, reflect, on everything, whether it was like, that situation being waived to, becoming one of the top players in the league just in a matter of a few months.
Yeah.
So that's something that I definitely don't take for granted. Or even, last year being injured for a majority of the season and then to turn around without having any practices before and then be able to, make a World Cup team.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, it's part of my journey, and I'm just kind of appreciating it, just as you said, continuing to get better. And that's all I can do, whenever I'm facing any type of obstacle that's in my way, is not to, dwell on that, but to just focus on getting better, to push, okay, what can I learn from this? What can I do in this moment of, feeling defeated or anything like that? What can I do to keep pushing?
Locked on Women's Basketball is brought to you by Game Time. Game Time, you can get it at gametime.co, or what I do is get in the App Store, is an opportunity to get tickets for anything, sports, music, comedy, theater near you. I'm going this weekend with my children and my wife to go see some of Broadway's best. Game Time gave me the opportunity to find killer deals on last minute tickets, and they can do the same thing for you. If you download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNBA, you'll get $20 off your first purchase. That's LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Maybe you'll be sitting next to me. Locked on Women's Basketball is brought to you by the new all-electric 2023 Nissan Ariya. Now, I've been asked to identify your player of the week. I'm going with Aaliyah Boston. No, there have not been games this week, but Aaliyah Boston was introduced to the fans in Indiana. Got to see what the arena is going to be like. The Ariya is electric, brilliantly fierce, fiercely elegant, stunningly powerful, and elegantly powerful. And I think all of those certainly apply to Aaliyah Boston's game as well. Like Boston, the Ariya delivers on duality, a combination of fierceness and elegance, but strong, the perfect crossover. The 2023 Nissan Ariya packs pin you to your seat power and premium intelligence all in one electric vehicle. The all-new, all-electric 2023 Nissan Ariya, the EV for people who love to drive. Shop now at nissanusa.com. In terms of your adventure over in Japan and coming on back, have you taken any sort of restaurant recommendations? Do you feel like when you go out with your teammates for Japanese food that you're going to be able to, kind of lead the way in terms of what to order?
Absolutely. So the food in Japan, let me just say, it is amazing. I love it. I'm hoping to go back because it was just great. My favorite over there was the yakiniku, which is kind of like some like Korean barbecue for those who don't know. The Japanese curry is really good. I'm not a sushi person because I don't like raw fish. It has to be like shrimp or crab meat or something if I'm gonna eat sushi. So I just kind of stay away from it.
Sure.
But the yakiniku, the curry, the ramen was really good. The only thing I didn't try that's Japanese that I heard was really good was shabu shabu, I think it's called. So
Yes.
we'll have to go and take them to try that together.
Well, it sounds like a fantastic team bonding experience coming up ahead. Betnijah Laney, always a pleasure chatting with you. Our listeners are grateful for your time as well. To our listeners, thank you so much for making us your first listen every day. We will, of course, be back with you tomorrow, just as we are 6 days a week. Betnijah, I'll be seeing you over at Barclays plenty this year.
Yes.
All the best.
Thank you.
Until tomorrow, I'm Howard Megdal, wishing you all a wonderful day.
Ogunbowale for the win. Good!
You are Locked On Women's Basketball, your daily podcast on women's basketball.